What's good, fam? We back in this thing, man. Y'all know how we get down, baby. It's Sunday night live. Well, I guess it ain't really night. The time might say 7 o'clock, but man, that daylight don't go away. And I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it because your boy don't like the darkness to come too soon. I like having extra daytime hours. But yeah, baby, it's Sunday night live, and it's time to get busy in this thing. And I know y'all seen it. Y'all seen it. Y'all seen the title. We up here talking about the business model because I got questions. I know I have my own interpretations and my own answers for stuff in my personal life, but I want to talk about some stuff because but your boy be replying to comments and we talk throughout different YouTube questions and one-on-ones when people ask questions, and I see stuff that's out there and I'm like, man, I wonder how other people are doing it. And when I say doing it, I'm talking about the business model. We talking about the business model, but for it to make sense, your boy, I got to explain my mindset for why I think and do the way I do. So this one right here, we're going to shout out moms because my mama, Felicia. I'm sorry. It's a joke behind that. I'll tell y'all about that later. When I was growing up, she was real big on words and math. Them two subjects right there is one thing you wasn't finna mess up, them numbers and them words, because my mama didn't like the numbers messed up. She's a finance person, but she didn't like people that talked about stuff or mentioned stuff and used words wrong, and she kind of instilled that in me. And one of those things required I'm finna tell my age right here. Y'all know that Encyclopedia Britannica. Well, my mama had that. I had all the volumes. And part of my reading growing up was reading the encyclopedia. I had to know words. I'm talking about no definitions, all kinds of stuff. If something didn't make sense and you ask a question, she pointed you straight to the bookcase. You had to go look the word up. So I became real big on words. And I had to know what the words meant. And that just carried on throughout life. She probably started me on this running down rabbit holes. But then it made me think about boy too. I remember a time we were stationed in Louisiana and he was elementary and it was spelling test time. And so, to help him with spelling, because some of them words was getting them, all I knew is we got to get the memory down first before we can get to the definition. So I did what was done to me. We started spelling and you had to say it out loud. I don't care where I was at in the house. I had to hear you at all times. He could be in the living room. He could be at the dining room table. He could be in his bedroom. He working on them words. I had to hear him. He'd be yelling out, tree, T-R-E-E, tree, T-R-E-E. You had to say it 3 times, and I had to hear it before you moved to the next one because we was working on the memory, building the memory so you understood the words before we got into definitions. And it's funny I say that because that is what started the progression of me really understanding words, because especially in today's time, we hear a lot of people just say phrases or use words that they don't use them in the correct context. I don't call nobody out. I don't be mad. Hey, that's you. Rock on. But for me, you have to use it in a context that I understand. If it don't make sense, I just keep it pushing. Some people I correct and help if they're near dear to me or just need a little bit of correction, because I want to be corrected if I'm doing something or saying something wrong. So I would, but everybody's not up for critique. So I don't bother everybody. But when somebody asks the questions or somebody rock off in the comments and they say something, because I don't see negative and stuff, I told you, I see teaching opportunities. So we're going to discuss some of those opportunities that have presented themselves along the lines with the business model to make sure I told you, this is a journey I'm on. I've talked about some of this stuff. I sprinkle it in the videos. Now we finna start bringing it all together because we talk about the foundation. We got that. But now as we go off into the part about building a business, we got to make sure we're looking at different various business models to have a clear understanding. And again, this ain't like my word is law. This is just what I'm doing and I'm sharing with y'all, fam. So take this how you take it. If you're one of those that's got a business, been running it for years and have multiple businesses, you come from family of business, you're going to have, chime in, let the fam know in the comments your perspectives on things. Because, hey, I'm all about let's all come together and bring our perspectives so we can grow together. I'm just using my insight. That's why I told you about my boy when he was using spelling that I got used on me to spell on words out. Dog, D-O-G. But anyway, before we get into that, let's tap in for a second. We got to holler at the fam because the fam is in here and they need comments already, and I can't be getting behind. We're at the house now. You see the background, so I can keep up a little bit better than last week when we was in that hotel. Whew, it was rough out there for you, boy. We made it do what it do, but now we finna get it going again. Let's holler at fam before we jump into this business model. Uh, hey, how you do that? I can turn on the caption. Now you gave me something else I'm gonna have to figure out. Don't worry, I might not figure it out right now this live, but I'm gonna figure it out for since you said it, because I'm all about happen. We'll figure that out for videos and future lives. So don't worry, fam. I got you. Might not happen this one because the way it works on StreamYard, I don't know. So when I figure it out, best believe we'll start adding that in there because I want everybody to get it. Because I know sometimes people might be in quiet places. So I got you, fam. It might not be today, but I got you. We're gonna start incorporating that. Let me figure that out. Hey, we got the Quicks in the house. What it do, fam? Hey, Mr. Quick. I'm asking. Don't say nothing to Miss Quick. I'm gonna ask for you. Remember when we was growing up, we got to ask the questions. Miss Quick, can Mr. Quick come outside and play? Hey, fam, if y'all know what I'm talking about, that means you ain't been rocking with the videos and reading the comments like I told you to do. We give lessons and have a good time in them comments on the video. They know what I'm talking about. Miss Quick, can Mr. Quick come outside and play? What's good, y'all? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Brother O'Neal, you made it. And my brother is on time. Brother O'Neal be coming in talking about, I'm late. I admit you here today, fam. You is on time. Yes, sir. Hey, what's going on? Just let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. JCM in the house. Y'all always in the house. What's going on, fam? G2G Transport. What's good, fam? Man, y'all is in this thing. Matter of fact, was it Justin comment that somebody replied to and I replied to that person? I think it was. I can't remember, but that's you'll know what I'm talking about. Just if Justin, if I'm talking to your comment that somebody replied under and part of this, one of it ain't, but part of it, let me know because I think that was one of your comments when we was talking about the dollar a mile because it's going off of the business model thing I'm talking about. But I see you, John. I see you. John is in the house. Man, everybody is making it in this thing. Hey, fam, if you just tuning in, we ain't got busy yet, but we about to get busy because we finna talk about this business model thing. We already told you why I use definitions and wording and all that stuff. So I'll give you an example. One of the fam, it was a new fam, and he was talking about the dollar a mile, which again, no problem. And he was like, he basically told me I'm the reason that the rates are a dollar a mile and I'm bringing them down. No worries. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I get it. Because you see a face on there and that person's telling you, I get it. I'm not just talking from my point of view. I'm spitting information out that I'm getting from other drivers while we out there, the stuff we talked about. So I kind of laughed it off because it was funny to me because I don't know how that's possible. I've only been doing this a little over a year. I don't know how I'm bringing the rates down, but hey, neither here nor there because things happen. You can assume that because the pandemic rates was up there. So people would think that's the normal rate. And a lot of people built their business model around those pandemic rates. And we've talked about this before, so we won't go down that rabbit hole about why certain businesses struggled or had to close or transportation in particular. Like a lot of people went back to the 9 to 5s or ran under different companies and all that because they built the model of their business around pandemic rates versus doing the research. That's why I always say do research, whether it's go back and look it up yourself, listen to different people like me and other content creators and people that's in the actual game, not the people that make comments under posts that have never touched transportation because they're not going to tell you how to build a business model around this. So I was cool on him saying that. Hey, I'm a big boy. I've been carrying the weight of a lot of things on my shoulders around this world. I can throw that on there. But what threw me off was, again, them words. He said, I guess ignorance is bliss. And I was looking at it, I'm like, that don't apply to your comment because that meaning doesn't reference what you're saying about the dollar amount of ignorance and bliss. Let's talk about it. Ignorance is bliss means basically if you don't know something about a particular subject, you just throw your hands up and keep it pushing. You don't look at it. You don't dive into it no more. You don't ask some more questions. Ignorance is bliss. I didn't know if he meant blissful ignorance, but that ain't what he said. He said ignorance is bliss. And I'm like, that don't apply because that means I would have to not have no type of knowledge about a subject. And I'm just out here willy-nilly doing this, just running around driving over the world. So I was like, that's probably because that business model. I'm saying $1 because remember, that's why I told you I'm going to piece together these videos as we build. When I told y'all in the video about being logical versus delusional, are there times where you can get over $1 a mile? Of course. You seen your boy do it. Are there people that are doing dedicated work getting more? Yes, because there's a difference between spot market rates and contracted rates. Contracted rates are higher than spot market rates. I'm not necessarily, because we're talking about it, building a business around contracted rates. I'm building around spot market rates, which we're finna go into this when we talk about business model a little deeper, of why I'm doing this with my family. We're doing it off of spot market. Now, contracts come up, depending on the contracts. But for example, I was, where was I at? I think I was up there in the Chicago area, Illinois area. And I picked up a load and I forgot where it was going. I don't remember. But let's just say that I talked to the guy and he's like, hey, we got this load and it goes out every Tuesday. Like this right here, we send it to different locations, but we mainly do this location from point A to B every Tuesday. Let's say that location is 750 miles, 700 miles. And I do a spot market rate, a contractor rate for him, like, hey, I can do this every Tuesday and I'll do it for $1,000. Just stick with me. Don't worry about the numbers. Just stick with what I'm saying. Don't worry about the per mile. So I'll do it every Tuesday for $1,000. How many Tuesdays do you do it? Is it every week, every other week? If they say out of the 52-week year, we do it 40 Tuesdays. And so we're going to make a deal, me and this shipper, and we make a deal. I'm going to do this load every Tuesday for $1,000. That's $40,000 a year. Depending on the individual, somebody like me be like, that's good. $40,000 a year and I only work 1 day a week. That's how I would build the business model. Of course, don't use just one. You want to get more than one ways to make money, because if something happened to that company, your money's gone. I just stick with the conversation of building a business model. I'm gonna rock with that, and I made $40,000 a year before anything comes out. That's gross off of that one contract. Now, for somebody like me who believes that, my personal belief, I don't believe you should have to go to school, graduate school, then work till you 50, 60 years old, 60s right now, because I think the new retirement age is 65. Work to 65, then God says by 7, so 7 times 10, so 70 years. Don't go down that route. But say work to 65 and then enjoy 11 years of your life and retire. I don't believe you should live your life like that. Me and my wife, we were one of those fortunate ones that were blessed. We were done at 39 and we're able to enjoy life, live life. But then I got to think, I got people coming behind me. So the way we're building the business model, I don't want them in that cycle of thinking they have to get out of school, then work till they're 65. So we're building a different business model that might not look the same to other people. Again, you have to do what works for you. We're just sharing the journey of the business model. So think of it that way. So if I got that one contractor carrier that I just told you about, 700 miles every Tuesday, $1,000, that's $40,000 a year. And I look at, let's say, boy one. Hey, son, you're in the business now. That load is yours. You get to work 1 day. 1 day if you do, let's just say 2, because you got to go and come back. Take that load 2 days a week, Tuesday to Wednesday. You're back home. And you're going to make, after expenses and everything, you're going to make $30,000 for the year. Now, for our business model, because the way our family is set up, be like, hey, you single, making $30,000 a year, this young man, we'll grow on after that. And then the next one come up, give it to boy 2. You see I'm going with this business model. Because part of that business model, if we go down, like by definition, a business model when you're doing the paper part, before we even get into work, you have to create value. You have to deliver value. We're in the transportation business. Of course, we want to deliver value. And then you have to look at one of them other things, the customer value, because in any type of business, you have to have a customer. But that customer isn't always somebody purchasing something from you. That's where people lose the second part of that business model. Like, think of sayings that you heard, like say fishing. Somebody's catching a fish and they're like, man, that fish was a nasty customer. That customer is a person that you interact with on a regular basis, not necessarily that buys something from you. So in our case, in our business model, my family is part of my customer base because we interact. They might seem like employees, but for businesses, employees are customers too. Think about it. When your business says, hey, you work for us, we'll give you stock options. That just made you a customer. We're giving you insurance, and your insurance plan under us is this. That just made you another customer. They say, hey, we got percentage off by using our products because you work for us. Say Walmart, you get 20% off of shopping in our store. That makes another customer. So when people think customer business model, you got to create value for your customer, and it's not always somebody that's paying. Sometimes it's the employees or the workers that work with you. In our case, because we're building a family business, customers are partly family because we deal with them on a regular basis. So the business model has to create value, have to deliver value, and also have to have customer value. Family business model. We gonna tap. We keep going, but the fam is in here talking. So give me. We can't let these comments get away. For one, they in here speaking to each other because we show love over here. I know, fam. I know I don't have nothing to do with bringing rates down. I've been doing this like a year. Pre-COVID, if you go back, rates pre-COVID, because it's inflation, rates are up about, depending on the vehicle, whether it's a van, a dry van, flatbed, all the different ones. But if you average it out, rates have went up. They're about 5 to 10 cents, 20 cents in certain markets higher than they were pre-COVID. So they're basically still on par for the growth. It just it's any job in any business. It never keeps up with the actual inflation of consumerism, like buying eggs. It shot up 100 and 200 and 300%. Buying milk. See what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff shoots up, but the pay doesn't shoot up as fast. So yes, we're still on par. Peak pandemic was an anomaly. That's neither here or there, but we're basically still on par. I didn't take no offense to it. It was just the language and terms, and I don't want people to get lost because they're building businesses and people are saying stuff that doesn't mean what it's saying. I don't want y'all to get lost out there. Let's see. Justin saying he's saying a lot of people have issues with the RAM. It's a vehicle, fam. I don't know what issues. You got to tell us because we riding these things. Like right now, there's a recall for the backup camera on the ProMaster. I was sent a letter about it last week. I have to look into it because they ain't said nothing to me. Now, don't get me wrong, my back camera's still working, but I want to know what that is. Appreciate you for putting that out there, fam. The Quicks, they had the same RAM issue with their RAM 1500. They're in the Ford now, so I understand that. John talking about he got that Chevy. All right, that's all y'all was talking about. Yeah. So let's get back to it. So when we again talking about the business model, and we talked about the ignorance is bliss. We done with that part. And so when you're building this model, because you're building it around what your needs are, and so there are people out there because we've seen them. That's more like the guy that said about the dollar a mile. There are people out there that say, "Hey, I'm making $2.30 a mile," or I seen one comment. The gentleman said, I think he was making between $2.85 and $3.25 or $3.50, and he won't move unless it's that. No problem with that. That's his area. That's his business model. It's different. What's that saying? Different folks for different strokes for different folks. So what I'm doing, because remember we talked about that. We talked about the delusional and logical, and I'm one of those people operating majority, not minority. We could talk about anomalies all day long. Like we've talked about it before, content creators. We see, if I say on a scale of 100,000 content creators that are just big and famous and making all the money. But if you do that comparison about the actual number of people that are content creators, that's really less than 1%. So should I build my business model or build my belief about content creation and jumping in this game? Should I build it around a content creator that's in the less than 1%, the anomalies, or should you build your business model around what the actual business is in the majority and then grow from there? A lot of individuals, they don't do that. And I'm starting to see that. I didn't know that was the issue, but I'm starting to see a lot of people are building their business model around the anomaly. And then when it doesn't work out the way they want it to work out, then they're disappointed or feel like a failure. I'm telling you now, we just built it wrong. So let's build it correctly. Because like some of them rates we just talked about, we're listening to people and we heard them. I've heard them. I've read the comments. I've seen their video. We've seen individuals build their business model around what other businesses did during the pandemic. And those numbers were the anomaly. And I don't want you to build your business around that. I want you to build your business model around the business model around getting started, the foundation, and then grow from there. Because could you imagine if I wanted to open an online store and then I'm mad that my numbers aren't doing what Amazon is, Amazon had years in the game. They started off selling books in a warehouse, and then they grew from there, and now they're Amazon. But if I build my business model directly around Amazon versus what Amazon started with versus where they are now, my business most likely won't succeed and do Amazon numbers. And you can apply that to anything, like we've talked about before with cooking. I can't go out there and say I'm finna start a burger joint and make burgers and then get mad because I can't put up Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and Burger King numbers. They got years and skin in this game. You have to build it around the majority, not the numbers. So in this case with cargo vans, if our majority, because we've heard people working with carriers, dispatchers, we heard people in different regions getting paid 85 cents a mile, 90 cents a mile, 70 cents a mile, depending on their contract. We know different regions like Florida, you're going to have to look between 65 to 80 cents a mile to even get up out of there. We know the regions in the circles where $1 is no problem to get, but you can also tap in $1, $2, $3. Like you seen the load we did $300 in 3 miles. That's $100 per mile, but I can't build a business model around getting $100 a mile. You seen the lows we did $1,200 for 500 miles. I can't build a business model around $240 a mile. Like those are the anomalies again. So let's get down to building the business model around what it is right now. Because most of us that's starting out in this game, you're doing one or two things. You're starting out on this low board. You got dispatchers or you got carrier companies helping you. Those are the 3 ways most of us starting now. There's different opportunities for you to go out there and meet people, network people, unless somebody came in and say, hey, if you get a van, I can give it to you and you got a direct shipper out the gate. But for the majority, that's not the case. So the majority of us have to build it off of logic. If this is the going rate, this is the way I got to build it. And when I build it, it's enough to scale and all that stuff, because that's another thing, a part of the business model when you try to scale too fast. You've heard people say that before, and I've seen that happen. So over here on this journey, we're doing it slower. As a matter of fact, I was talking to one of the one-on-ones today. We was talking to fam one-on-one. Amazing. And I don't think they're in here yet, but it was basically saying, as we're building this from the ground up, because I have to do it this way, because I have to have receipts. It has to make sense. I have to be able to teach and pass on the information to those behind me, make the catalog, or document the journey, which is part of YouTube, and these lives is documenting, but I also document other ways too. But if I just talked to my wife and we got up and went out, because it's 5 people in our family minus the baby boy, he can't drive yet. But if I just said, hey, all 4 of us, we finna go get a van and we finna start this thing, people would be like, how in the world did you get 4 vans and running around? I would have skipped steps, and that's part of business model and people skipping steps. It's a lot involved in business model. This is, you know me, we talking about this now because we putting it out there. So as we continue to grow, you can start thinking about it. So as we drop videos with loads, it'll make sense, because this nugget that we're doing right now is opening up your mind to think outside the box. Because to me, there is no box, but I got to at least get fam out the box that might be in the box. I know some of y'all already out of it. We just catching up. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, we have to do it from like this, because if I skip those steps, when it comes time for me to pass this information on to those behind me, they're going to be like, hey, well, something's missing. And I'm not going to be able to explain it because I didn't go through it, if that makes sense. Or like my wife with the daycare, like as she was building that thing, she started off one-on-one in the house and had more kids in the house, and then more kids in the house. But that people just think, oh, you started in the house, that was good. You're missing the first step. She started off in the actual daycare with a daycare owner that was also able to pick up information and watch steps and watch how stuff moves. She didn't just jump into come in my house. See what I'm saying? Because that business model would have missed that first piece, and it would have been a lot that she didn't know. And I think that's what's happening in this transportation game. People are watching videos, skipping steps. Like, for example, if you just go out and buy a van and you ain't done no research, you don't know what your market look like, and you got this big van, and now I got to pay this van note, and I don't even know where to start. That's skip the step. You see what I'm saying? That's why if you noticed us, we started before we even got out there, we started gig gapping in the SUV. Let me make sure I feel like doing this for one. Running around, picking up stuff, delivering stuff. That's part of the business model. Y'all is in here going wild in the comments. See, this is why I have to stop, because y'all, I see it in my peripheral jet. So let's go on ahead. Okay, let's go catch up. Yep, Paul, you're right. Got to be direct shippers and brokers. You got to understand that. You ain't late. You ain't late. Uh, they still talking about the van. You're right. $100 a mile will get you the bag real quick and hurry. And it's crazy because that was an anomaly. It happened one time. I'm not saying it don't happen for a lot of people, but that was that one time. Have we gotten close to that? A couple times. A couple times. Mm, okay, you in Houston, man. You should have said something already down in the H. But hey, you got to leave out. You got to go back out to hike. Okay, man. Be safe on that road. Of course, I know you ain't leaving, but in case I don't say it, I want to say it now. Be safe out there, fam. Uh, see. Fam, I know you there. For y'all to understand, like I know the day one fams that's still coming. I don't expect y'all to come in on every video. I get it, but I appreciate y'all that do. Cause for one, y'all give me something to talk to. I be bored sometimes. I thank y'all for letting me talk to y'all. But yeah, I know you there, fam. But hey, I love that. You and your brother, we just talked about that. As you're building that business, you and your brother are gonna have to build that as we're talking about what works best for you. And that's the point of the whole this building the business model. What works best for you. Man, I know that getting stuck somewhere for the 4th of July weekend. Man, that is not fun. Where y'all y'all still up there? Or y'all got a load coming out tomorrow? What, fam? Let's see what you got going on. Tell us where you at right now. But yeah, what you just said about you and your brother. That's a good way to look at it. So when I say about the business model, you have to build it around what's best for you, not what's best for somebody else. So when somebody looks and like, hey, BG, you the reason these rates going down. Okay, if that's what you feel like, I can't stop you from feeling that way. But I know there's a difference. There's some people that are building a business and there's some people that are solopreneurs. There's nothing wrong with either one. Trust me. If you're doing this and you just putting food on the table, you ain't trying to pass nothing on, you just building to build because you having a good time and want to pay your bills, that's no problem with that. But for those that are actually building the business, I don't want you to build that business on information that's not correct. If, for example, we're talking right now, they're talking in the chat about the different issues with different vans, which is good conversation because you got to know what's going on with these vans, especially you're building your business around this vehicle. And they're giving their parts about electrical issues. You heard me say about the backup cameras and stuff like that, from the Ram to the Transit to the Sprinter. Like that's part of that business model because that's part of your business and you have to do what's best for you. So when people will be like, hey, what van do you recommend? For me, I wouldn't do a Sprinter. This is me. I wouldn't do a Sprinter because we've had foreign cars. I don't feel like dealing with that maintenance. I remember the maintenance we've had on different foreign cars from BMWs to Alfa Romeos, like or Alfa Romeo. I forgot we not in Italy. Alfa Romeo, like we've done that, and I don't feel like dealing with that stuff. I really deal with stuff that I can get under there, put my hand if I want to. Most likely, I'm not going to, but if I wanted to, I can get under there and do stuff myself instead of having to always take it to the dealership and spend all this money. That's just part of our business model. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty of the business model part that I think that's throwing a lot of us off. And I don't want you to get lost in the sauce building a business. We live in, what's the best way to put it? We live in an air fryer society. Let me catch you up on what I'm talking about. If our grandparents grew up using the oven, stick with me, using the oven to cook something. And then my parents used a crock pot. Obviously, that crock pot cooks a lot faster than the oven, and you don't have to touch it as much. Then my generation comes along, and we grow up with the microwave. Microwave is gonna cook a little bit faster than the crock pot, oven, defrost stuff, all that kind of stuff. Now we're in an air fryer society. You don't really have to do much. Set the temperature, put it in, and that's not even air fryer, Instant Pot. It's done even that much faster. Pressure cooked fast and be done. That's a society we live in. And so when people make their business model, they go in with the intent of thinking, I start the business on Monday, I'm going to be rich by Friday. It sounds crazy, but I've seen it. I've seen it in the youth. Yeah, I'm no different. I got caught up in it a couple times. Like you start something, you saw somebody else's win, somebody else's success, and you think I'm gonna duplicate that. But that's because you built your business model off of them. The information that we talk about, whether it be the triangle, the circle, the square, the octagon. I'm sorry. We're not going down geometry. You build your business model around everything that I'm doing, and I don't live in your area, then it might not work the same. Versus if you mirror something and take the information you need and put it into your business model, now you're setting yourself up for success. So, for example, I'm in Houston. And my Houston folks, if they want to run the triangle and do it, we might get similar outcomes. They might have higher weeks. I might have higher weeks. It goes back and forth, but they can't build their business model around what I'm doing. They have to build it around their situation because everybody's situation is different. Some people can't go out there and scale up to 4 bands, 5 bands, 6 bands. They don't want to. Some people and like how it goes, like that's just different strokes for different folks again. But that's part of that business model, and I don't want y'all to build it around that. I know I keep emphasizing it, but I have to. I feel like I'm beating it to death, but I have to because I want y'all to get out of that mindset. Oh, I'm sorry. We gotta talk about the quick because obviously I said can Mr. Quick come outside. They went outside and they got a $225 bag for 17 miles. I love it. Oh, but that is a nice surprise. And then the boy, if every day can be 225 or 17 miles, I would love it. But that's the part of the model. That's part of their model every day. But building means being able and reliable contact for those opportunities. That's why. So when y'all, what the quicks are talking about, they in here having the conversation about the van, and you know the saying because since we're on words and saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. They're talking about the van because that's part of your business model. Remember, part of that is you have to deliver value. We're in transportation. Deliver value can go in many different ways, but part of our value is getting the freight there on time, not being broken and tore up and all that kind of stuff. And that requires you to have a dependable van to be available, as the quick said, to get the 225 to go 17 miles. They're building their business model around that. As I'm running around, it's two types of people because you have OTR people that want to be OTR, and granted, we're going to tap into this. People that want to be OTR or have to be OTR for their business model to work. That's something totally different. Remember, we talked about the different regions. We just talked about fam that has to go back to Oregon, but they're down here in Texas. The volume up in Oregon might not be enough volume for the business model that they want to build, and so they go somewhere else. We had fam hit me up in the comments that lives in Cali but wants to be a part of the transportation industry, and they were asking, would it be good to get to Arizona or should I get to Texas? They were thinking about coming to Texas. Like whatever that situation may be, we've had other fam hit me up say, we moving to Texas, how should I start? That's you starting, fam. Part of that business model is knowing your area of where you can build your business at. We've talked about it before. We crack jokes like saying, hey, if I want to start a barbecue business, obviously that business model doesn't work if I put it in an area that's all vegan. It doesn't work. So if you're trying to get in the transportation game, because there's rates and loads and all that everywhere, but it depends on the volume and how you want to move. That's why we drove around the United States and told everybody to give you insight of what your area was for your business model. Remember, I told you I'm your test dummy. I was doing that so we can get actual information, not just me up here talking about, yeah, I got a cargo van, or I got 2-3 cargo vans, and we gross about 500,000 a year. Let me tell you. And then you're looking like, okay, you told me that. How did you do it? That's why we was running around to help you build your business model. I understand some people in different areas going to do some things, but I'm talking the majority. So we talked about those different areas. Like one of the fan today, we talked about Atlanta and described the Atlanta to Memphis to St. Louis back to Atlanta. That's a triangle for them because it helps them stay in a day of driving. Drive 6 hours, drive back. That's a 10 to 12 hour day, depending on if they go to Louisville or not, or Memphis, whatever. And that's their day because that's their local, unless they're trying to stay directly in Atlanta. Again, it's different strokes for different folks. But we've had fam that say, Callie, I know I need to get up out of there because that CPM, or they didn't like the gas prices, or they didn't like the insurance prices, whatever it was, it doesn't fit their business model. The whole thing is you have to figure out your business model. As we go along, the reason I'm talking about this now is I want to start opening your mind, and that's why I try to throw it the chats so y'all can see what they're talking about. It's so that as we go through these videos over the next few months, as we're talking about, because we talked about the foundation. I'm not going to keep beating y'all in the head with CPM, COL, BO. I'm not doing that. We got that foundation. But as we continue to build the framework of this business, this live right here is to start y'all thinking about that. And the chat is already talking about it, helping each other about what their experience or insight is as they build it. Because when we start making these videos, you'll already have a thought process and your gears will already be turning, especially with those definitions. Because I don't want you to be out there with the ignorance is bliss. I don't want you to be out there just doing something and then throw your hands up. We're not doing that. So that's why we're talking about business model to get your mind going. But now, fam, as I continue, I want y'all to tell me about y'all business model. But while I'm doing that, I'm finna check these comments because I know y'all in here talking. Okay, fam. Y'all leaving up out of Denver tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about. Got a few leads on Lowe's, but communication been rocky. But yeah, I've been having that problem too. I sent out a couple of filler emails. Nobody was answering phones, but I didn't expect to. People out there popping fireworks, enjoying their weekend. I don't expect nothing to tomorrow. That's why I ain't got no Monday load. I knew I wasn't going to get no Friday drop-off Monday load because I was hanging around the house because, hey, I wanted to enjoy it with my fam as well, too. I'm always about celebrating with the fam. What you say? Oh, yeah. And speaking of that, because this is why you have to have good people on your team. My wife up here, because I mentioned something to her, and because she stays on top of it. And it's something I wanted to just briefly touch on. We do it every time, and I almost slipped my mind right then. But I want to just take this moment. We'll talk about it in a second, but just to have a quick moment of silence for that storm that just came through, like we do for everybody else. But that storm that came through in Texas and got a lot of displaced families, a lot of lost loved ones, a lot of people that need prayer, need a lot right now. So I want to just take a moment of silence just for them. Because believe it or not, even though this is me, I can't speak for everybody else. Even though I'm Texas through and through, it don't matter what city, state you're in. We've talked about stuff that's happened like recently in St. Louis. We talked about the Louisianas. We talked about the Floridas and North Carolinas. But in this particular instance, the Texas, even though we don't personally know them, I am very big on everybody winning in life. And it's hard to overcome sometimes, and it's hard to get through and get to winning and succeeding in life when you have tragedies happen in life, especially when, in this case, kids are involved. I know loved ones, but especially when kids are involved, anybody of that nature is involved, it's striking. And to have a conversation about a business model when I just told you about customers and delivering value and all the different value, the people that we lost and the thing that they're going through, that's value that many people can't get back. So keep them in your prayers. Keep everybody in your prayers that's going through this. I know we already talked to some of the fam. We got some fam that have family that's in Texas, in that area, the Austin, San Antonio, and surrounding areas that were affected. Praying for y'all, keeping y'all in our prayers as well. I hope I would appreciate it if y'all did the same, because that's a life or a family that's going through something that'll never be the same. So keep them in y'all prayers as well. Prayers up Texas. Prayers up everybody that's going through something, because it ain't just a Texas thing, because as I just stated, it's people from all over the world that have family members that were affected by this. So yeah, prayers for them. Much prayer for recovery, because they're going to need it as they go through these hard times. So prayers up for them. Texas strong, baby. Praying for y'all. It sounds kind of weird because how do you transition? Like, I know it's the business model, and we're talking about how your business, it hits different if you're doing it. If your business model looks similar to what I'm talking about, it hits different because our business model is built around family. Especially saying when I'm talking, it sounds crazy. I'm talking transportation. we're talking transportation, and I'm talking about the business and building around family. But it's a reason I call y'all fam. I don't know if y'all picked up on that, because I feel like we're building together, whether you're building a business or just going along with the journey or just here for the entertainment. We fam. And so y'all are technically a part of the business. I know people, because one of the comments said, like, yeah, I guess it's great to supplement YouTube money with the cargo. The YouTube money, I told y'all before, this has nothing to even do with the business model of what we're doing right now, because that YouTube money goes over there because it's building capital for the business to grow, because that's part of our money. I don't even pay myself because the business ain't for me. It's for those behind me. We talked about that. But that's the business model. That's the model. And you've heard people say it before in the business as you start out. You heard entrepreneurs say, oh, those first couple of years, I really didn't pay myself. Or it took this long before I got to the point where I can make this type of money. That's why when we started the journey, like, hey, we got to get to 100K in the business before we can put 100K in our pocket. That's all part of the business model. And the world we live in today, because we live in the Instapot / air fryer world, we want the money and then we spend the business money and we wonder why the money's not going out. And that's a good example. The reason we talked about COL in the past is because part of that business model is it has to, because when we talk about value, you might be offering value to the customer, the client, all that different stuff, but you have to offer value to your business. And the way you offer value to your business is just a one of one. You have to have capital. And in order for your business to grow or to stay afloat, stay even, or stay above the red, you have to have value by putting the money back in the business. I don't care what business model you use. I don't care what, if you make your own or if you mirror somebody else's, follow somebody else's, the business model has to have money coming in. It's just how life works. That's one of the reasons I like the cargo van, because as we talked in the chat and talking about how the van breaks down, different things like that, the capital to run the business isn't high, because nobody wishes this on anybody, but I don't want your van to break down every day. It's not like you go replace an engine every day. It's not like you replace a transmission every day. Yeah, you might do oil change once a month, but that's $100-some unless you're doing it yourself. But the run the business model for this one doesn't take as much capital as if you're trying to do it on a bigger scale, whether it be run a store, run a restaurant. That takes a lot more capital that we don't have to worry about. And because you're most likely the first employee until you bring other people on. So but either way it go, it has to have money come into the business model. So I understand when people are like, I can't do this unless I get $2-3 a mile, which we've talked about before. But what they're getting it mixed up. And that's gonna be matter of fact, I'm finna give y'all a sneak peek. Y'all ain't gonna know the video because y'all don't know what I'm saying in the video. I'm just gonna give you a sneak peek because you know me. I believe what's for me is for me. If you try to take the title, you just took it and you're wasting your time because you don't know what I'm gonna say. Matter of fact, because I told you, my little handy dandy cell phone. I tell you, the transparency over here is just crazy. Look at me telling y'all stuff I ain't even got to yet. I know it's coming because it's in the line of things to do. But in the near future, and y'all gonna laugh because when it pops up, you're gonna remember this conversation. One of the YouTube titles for one of the discussions we're gonna have in one of the videos is the market rate didn't change, your cost of living did. Did I say that? Who said that? The market rate didn't change, your cost of living did. Even like I talk about the ones in the pandemic, the numbers and the money that was flowing out was great. I've had this happen in my life a few times. I've gotten bonuses in the military. I didn't miss the bonus off because the bonus was bad. I changed my lifestyle and blew the money. It was my fault. But that's the part about accountability when you're building a business model. You're building a business model around your current needs versus your future needs to keep the business growing and staying afloat and growing to its potential. And you accidentally, because I've done it before, you accidentally mess the business up before it reaches its full potential because you're basing it off of your personal needs of your cost of living versus what the business needs are. So yes, it doesn't cost much to run the van, but we've talked about this in other videos. If you built your life that's needed to sustain and you don't have no other source of income, you build your life around the needs that's higher than the van, then of course it doesn't work. And that's with anything. If I use you know me, I'm transparent. I use myself, for example. The life my wife and I have built, it's impossible for me to go work somewhere and say if I took all money that we have, no other income, if I took it off the board, had to start over from what we have right now, there's no way the life that my wife and I have built for our family, I couldn't go out and get a job that made $10 or $15. I couldn't even get away with a job that made $20 an hour. We would stay afloat. We would be homeless, for lack of better words. And this is just full transparency because we're talking about how people live their life. For example, transparency moment. If the average right now median income is around 39, 40,000 across America, people don't take into account that you have people that make 150, 250. Those, I don't want to say anomalies, but they kind of are. Because if y'all in the chat, y'all hit me out. If you travel around the United States, when you're not in a major city, the vast majority of America lives on like the same even keel playing scale, making 25, 30, 35,000 a year. If you travel outside of a big city. But the problem with that is if America is made up of 380 something million people, and if you add the numbers of the top 10 major cities, we're still talking about building a model. I'm just making it understandable. We talk about a 380 million for the American people in the United States. And if you add up the 10 largest cities, remember, Houston is like the 4th largest, and we're in the millions. But if you add up the 10 largest cities and it comes out to 20 million, let's do that number real fast in your head because I want y'all to really understand what I'm saying. 20 million divided by the 380. The 20 million people, it ain't accurate. I'm just using this for example. The 10 largest cities have 20 million. If you add them all together, that doesn't even make up 1% of America. That's 0.05% of America. So we're building business models and sculpting our life around less than 1% of America. Like I just was in St. Louis. The population for St. Louis is like 200 or something thousand. Of course, when you hear St. Louis, you think of Nelly and all that. You're like, man, St. Louis got to be big. No, it's not. It's not. And that's what I'm trying to help with the business model. So when you hear somebody saying, yes, I get $2, $3 a mile in my cargo van. Yes, you're the anomaly. Don't build your business model around that. I try to tell people this all the time because there's some fam that get it. Like right now, now I'm not going down that one because that's for a later video. That's what I'm keeping that one. But right now, if you go based off the numbers, let's use the 40-some thousand we've made so far in the van. That's more than some people's income for the entire year. And when we're talking about building what's your business model, when you're building that business model, if we're already at 6 months, it's more into that. I'll talk about that later on towards the end of the year. If we're already at 40-some thousand and we got the rest of the last 6 months to go, we're already at this. So why would I build the business model around somebody that I see that's making 3-4 million because they got 8 box trucks? I'm not knocking them. I'm proud of them. I'm just saying for me starting off at the base, I'm not in a box truck. I'm in a cargo van. This is mainly my cargo van people I'm talking to now about business, building a business model. You translate it to other ways. If that's where I'm at, I can't build the business model off of the business model of somebody with a cargo van and an 18-wheeler. And I think that's what people are doing. They're building a business model around somebody that's got dedicated rates. You can't do that. But let me get to the comments because, boy, y'all be more. 1 minute y'all ain't saying nothing, and all of a sudden, let me catch back up. The quicks are saying it. Yes, low overhead is must in the cargo van business model. Use that model for everything. You don't start spending money that you don't have. Remember, I'm over here. I get business credit. I get all that. But I'm all about, because that's part of our business model. We want to be the bank. Not knocking nobody else. Use all the stuff at your tools at your availability. We just want to be the bank. So we do it within our means. Rich, is the sitting still part in the business? It's funny how sometimes it costs less to sit still. Others, it will hurt you. That's it. So let me understand what Rich is talking. I want to go into that right quick. I've told you about times when people say, I sat this long. And we crack jokes about if the wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. We crack all them jokes. Believe it or not, there are situations, because remember, I told you I've done both. There's sometimes where it's like, no, I got to keep moving. This ain't making money sitting right here. But then there's times, we've talked about it in past videos, when it's like, when God said, peace be still, there are times where it's like, no, you have to sit still, because now you're turning your wheels and you're not making money. Like, that's where the cheap freight comes in. There are times where you can possibly be moving loads for free, or using up your vehicle and your time, and you're not getting the capital that has to go back into business. So it's a little bit of both, and it's a tricky situation. But think of it this way, because we're talking about business model, and I got to use example because that's the only way it works. Say I got a clothing store, let's say Ross, Marshalls, anything like that. You can go in Ross and you can buy, let's say, a polo shirt. They might be on clearance, they might be cheaper, they might be defective in something that you can't even tell, but they might go for $25, $30 versus if you actually go in the polo store and they're going to go for $100. They have businesses have things inside of their business model to where when they make purchases and do certain things, they hit certain numbers. And when they hit their number, that item, that product, because you got to have product value too for the customer value, that product goes on sale. They've already made the money out of that, and now they're giving it on a sale rate. That's partly because part of their business model is they don't want to lose all of the money they put in, but they need to recoup something out. A good way to translate it for us is, if I'm running somewhere, say I got a load going 1,000 miles, it's going for $1 a mile, $1,000. And I happen to see, I got my money's worth for what I'm running my CPM on. I got my money's worth, and I find another load. If I can't get that broker up to $1 a mile, do I just throw my hands up and say, forget it? Or do I do the big business model like big corporations? And now I got a clearance sale. I might not can get you to $1, but what if I can get you to 85 cents? Now all of a sudden I got 1,000, which is what my profit would needed to get anyway to even take the load, $1 a mile. But now I found another load and I got another $8.50 to go that same 8,000 miles at 85 cents a mile. That's what big companies do inside their business model. They get the product, they make their money off the product, and then when it's time to recoup some of the money back because it's time to transition to the next product, they're going to put it on sale and on clearance. And I just told you the market rate didn't go up, your cost of living did. That's when you go out and be like, it's on sale, I can spend my money. No, you can't. That's why I told you you're not balling out on the cargo van money yet. No, you can't. Stop doing it. I'm not saying all the time, but stop doing it every time. And so that's how you do it. That's why companies have fall sales, summer sales, spring sales. We're talking about vans. That's why every year around August, September, we have to clear all the inventory. They already made their money. Now they're just trying to get a little bit back to recoup some of this money, to get extra money on top of the money they spent so they can start the next one. That's what we're doing in a load game. We take a load, we got to get what we need for our van to run, and then anything extra is the icing on the cake as we get that downloaded and delivered so we can move on to the next load. Business model. All right, let's get back to the comments because I'll go down a tangent on that. Is anyone having any luck with the DAT load board? I don't know what issues you having, fam. Let us know. I don't know what you mean, like finding loads? I don't know what you mean. I'm laughing because appreciate you, Aaron. Your budgeting strategy are excellent. Appreciate you, fam. I'm just knowledge passing on, telling what I learned, what I picked up. Got to use some of this educational stuff and experience to somebody because I can't take it with me. Cemetery already full of great ideas. I ain't trying to add to it. Rich saying DAT was empty in Arizona last week. Think it was the holiday. I think that's what it was too. Normally around a holiday, as it gets to the end of the week, depending on what it is, I use this for example. Loads are still moving, but if they're not going to put out loads on a Thursday or Wednesday, that they won't drop off on a Friday because ain't nobody going to be there most likely. And some warehouses, not all, nobody would have been there. So, and then they don't want to think about it from the business standpoint. If you picked up something on Wednesday and they told you couldn't drop it off till Monday, your first thought is going to be like, well, how much is it to hold it over the weekend? You're going to want more money. They don't want to spend that money. So they just going to wait till Monday. So that could be what you mean about the DAT board being down. I mean, not having as many loads because it happens every holiday. Just get ready for it. It happens all the time. How long does it take to receive DOT number and MC number? Getting van in August, got my LLC and business account. Just have to file for DOT and MC. Also get insurance. So DOT, it's like the same. I know that, and we're going to clear this up too. It normally takes they tell you 21 to 25 days business days, but it normally is right now around about 20 days. But they'll tell you that. Matter of fact, the video about we did months back about the MC, we got it from the horse's mouth that works at the video is called "Do You Need an MC or Authority?" That video we got it from the horse's mouth. At the end of the video, you'll see where he breaks down not just how to do how to fill out online with FMCSA, how to get it, but he also tells you the time frame of when it will come back. Let's see. That 1 million policy makes it hard to keep overhead low. Progressive quoted me $1,300 a month last week. This is why you got to shop around. Justin, I don't know your age, because a lot of stuff plays in this age, your driving history with tickets and all that kind of stuff. Different stuff. The city you live in, like if you live in a major city where accidents happen a lot, that plays a factor as well. And then, like I said, age, but the type of vehicle you have, because obviously Sprinter insurance will be higher than Ram and full, you know what I'm saying? Because it's that foreign making model. So it all depends. But shop that around, because right now, and remember, this is the business model, different numbers for different people. I've heard people say as low as in the 5 and 6s. We're in the 7s. I just round up and tell y'all 800. But it's different for other people. I've seen 1,000, but normally I see 1,000 and below. But shop around and see if you got, and fam, if y'all know somebody else outside of Progressive or just where you stay at, let us know that too, because that might help from somebody in the fan that might stay in the area you are that can tell you that. Yep, that's Rich saying the MC and the DOT can come quick. Remember in October, which they pushed it back from last year, they say they're doing away the MC or the DOT wanted to, but remember, it's not necessarily they're doing away with both of them. It's just they're trying to eliminate some of the scamming and all that. So they're basically breaking it down to one number versus having two. Paul is letting you know that is correct. You get your DOT number right then and there, and the MC takes a couple of weeks. The DOT allows you to run within your states. Within your state, the MC is what allows you where you can cross the line. Hey, fam, you motivated me to get a box truck and 2 Garvo vans. We eat. Hey, George, can I get a loan? Can I borrow 5? You got 5 on it? Let your boy hold something. That's what's up, fam. I'm proud of you, man. That's what's up. A box and 2 cargo vans, boy. You ain't just eating. You got a buffet. Man, where you live at? I didn't even get it out fast. Paul already asking, George, where you live at? What region you in? You in the circle? Which messages? I didn't see them, J Harv. You sent some messages. I didn't see nothing. Nah, I don't have no earlier messages from you, fam. I don't see no earlier messages. What you said? I don't want to miss nothing. But Paul want to know, Jay, how that was treating you out there. Navi is in the building. What's going on, fam? I ain't heard from you. Don't make me come over there to San Antonio, man. As a matter of fact, Navi, how y'all doing out there, man? How y'all holding up with that weather, man? I hope y'all being safe, man. Okay. What's up, fam? How do you pay yourself? So it's like I just said, I don't pay myself. I put it out because we talked about that. But what I do is, my wife is such an amazing job with these, with the videos and all the other background stuff that y'all don't even. We got stuff coming that y'all don't even know about because we talking about business model, but we got a lot of stuff coming. But the way we set it up so we can start doing for tax purposes and to get in the habit of doing it, we just peel off 10% of every load. And that's play money, I guess. Go have fun. Go get some coffee. My wife's a Starbucks. She's a Bucky, but not Bucky's in the food. Starbucks. Let's see, John. Lot of new owner operators not knowing their worth, bidding too low. Rates have dropped over the last year because of low bidding. So I agree with that to a good extent. But okay, let me give you this one because I won't say it's necessarily always the brokers. It's a thing going on, and it's always been there. It's just picking up a lot more that I'm starting to see. I mentioned the website to y'all before, but shippers are putting it out there and letting the brokers come through email. They talk through email, and whoever has the lowest bid wins the rate. So it ain't necessarily always the driver that's bidding too low. The brokers are already bidding lower to try to get one. I'll give you an example. It was that load that was in Louisiana. It was going to Jackson, Mississippi. It was down at the bottom. I forget where it's at again. But the broker didn't have much in the load because he wanted to bid, but he didn't have enough in the load to pay what I was willing to do to take it. He was trying to get it around $1 a mile, but I was like, if I go to Jackson, Mississippi, you got to come up more than $1 a mile because I'm in the middle of nowhere. Jackson, Mississippi is between like getting to Shreveport, Bossier, and Dallas versus the other way would be what? The Birmingham, Alabamas, and all that stuff, like to where I can get to some work or up to Memphis. Like, I'm like, I got a deadhead a lot. No, if you're going to pay me, you got to give me a couple of more dollars. But he couldn't do that because he had already bid too low and wanted to bid. And a lot of brokers, because just like you have new authorities out here, new drivers that are bidding, I don't necessarily say low, but they're bidding what they think they need versus knowing their business model. There's also a such thing as new brokers. Brokers can sign up the same way we do to FMCSA. It got different tabs, carriers, brokers, like, you know what I'm saying? So they're signing up starting broker form, and they just want to get that load, that first one, that second one, to get their thing going, but they're underbidding to the shipper, and the shipper takes it, and now they don't have the capital to put it out there. Like I told you about the load I picked up in Houston that was going to Florida, and the young lady, she put the wrong zip code in when she quoted the price to the young lady, and by the time she gave it to me, she had to come out of pocket because she shorted herself about 200 something miles. But I already had the load, and the rate con is like, do you pay twice and have to put it back out there and then give me a tow new, or do you cut your losses? I think she paid like $50 out of pocket or something, but brokers are out there making the same mistake. So it's not always the driver. This is the part about the research I want everybody to do, because don't just look at your business model. Remember, I told you, look for other people. Don't just look at your business model from yourself. In order to run the business, you got to look at your competitors. That's part of research. You have to understand your competitors. You have to understand your customers. You have to understand your clients. In most cases, if we go by definition, because we started this with definition, you have to go by your stakeholders. The stakeholders aren't always just the individuals within your business structure. The stakeholders can also be the client, because they have something at stake here. You're moving their freight. So it's a bunch of parts of this that you have to think about when you're building your business model. Everything Apex. That's a good question. We've talked about this before. I'm glad you brought that to my mind. When we're talking about the business model, you're trying to get it off the bat, but you have to remember we talked about this. That's why we started, gig gapping. Got to understand what you're doing. Got to know where you're going. Got to understand your market. Got to do your research. I told you in the beginning, run under carriers, brokers, so you can get a feel for the thing, because you don't want to just build your business model based on that. Remember, that goes back to it off of what you heard other people say and do without going down that research. Continue to do research. Go talk to somebody. Get training. You have to do that in order to build the business, or you're going to set yourself up for failure, like a lot of people did during the pandemic, because they saw those amazing numbers. They were amazing. They were pulling in, even in cargo vans, pulling in 15 and 20 vans a month in a cargo van, but now it kind of cycled back down. And they looking like, I not built my life around this 15, 20,000, and now my cargo van is only bringing in 10. You see what I'm saying? Like, do your research. That's part of the business model and what works best for you. And you got to prepare yourself for the ups and downs. We're in a volatile type of industry. Like, it goes ups and downs. It has seasons like any other business does. Like, if I had a ski resort, obviously I'm not going to be in season during the summertime. All right, so Paul said we don't have a list of carriers to sign up with. Fam, they already done it before. Like, they've list carriers. They talked about it. Paul, you got to go watch some of them videos, because in the comments they be talking about the different carriers. I know they do it on the live. I don't know if I haven't seen nobody put nothing up today. I have had DAT for 6 months. I've only got one low. Oh, JCM, we got top fan. That's not good. Like, that's not good. You should have had more than that. I don't know what area are you in. We got to see what are your filters. Like, it's a whole, but it's like a business model. It's a whole bunch that goes into finding that low. I'm sorry, I got to put it up because we keep it transparent and honest over here in Apex. I've said this. Maybe remember that's why I tell y'all to research other people. There are other content creators that are out here saying what I've said, what you said. Let Apex tell you because he's one of them OGs in the game. He's been around. Like this is why I harp on research. We made the videos. I gave you the 3 things, and one of those 3 things is: are you built for this? Do you understand this? Do you? You have to know this game. That's why we're talking. We transparent over here. We talk the brutal, honest truth. And like everything Apex said, you gotta know what you're doing before you get in this thing. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up everything. Somebody Rich said, just some advice I wish I would have listened to. If possible, put your insurance in an older model vehicle like a 91 or a 2 to let the authority age for 6 months if possible. Insurance will be low. I've heard that too. I've heard that too. I haven't actually done it, but I've heard that. I don't know. Y'all tell fam. Y'all, hey, we good out here. John is giving different ways to find stuff. Google search, Craigslist, Indeed, Sprinter vans, cargo vans, job search engine, like it's multiple way. I see. You're in Cali. Okay, I like that. A box truck and 2 cargo vans out in Cali. See, I told you it's your area. That I told y'all that mine is through Geico. Everything's telling you about APIP. When I told you about the Progressive, make sure your insurance is the area you're in. Geico's who I got. Anthony says, I'm blessed and consistent to make $100K yearly. I'm getting into this to make my business instead of just building others. Would it be smart to have someone work the van then buy another later? We've had this conversation before, but you got to understand in the cargo van market, it's one thing to build out, but if you're going to have somebody run your van for you and you haven't already built it up, that's the business model part. If you haven't already built it up and say you got to run it off of carriers, brokers, load boards like that, your rate of return for you after you pay your driver and all that is not as high in a cargo van. Now, when you get to the point you built it up and you got some direct clients and contracts and all that stuff that you get paid that little bit more, that's a difference. Like, for example, the best one I can think of that pops in my mind right now is we've heard like T-Force. T-Force is a big company. They've made friends with people and networked with people, and they got a bunch of contracts, and they give those contracts to different cargo vans, box trucks, 18-wheelers. That's the point you will want to get to when you start talking about this time. Remember, I told you about expanding too fast. If you already don't have certain things in place, trying to expand just off of paying people off of a percentage of a load board or with the carrier, because look at it this way: if somebody's only making 85 cents a mile dealing with a carrier and don't get to the dollar, we're just talking about 85 cents for the majority. If they only make 85 cents a mile, how much of that 85 cents are you supposed to keep? If you got a driver, do you keep 25 cents of it? Do you keep 40 cents of it? 50%? Do you split it down the middle? See what I'm saying? It's like, it depends on how you look at it. But again, that's off your business model. This is just my opinions and my thoughts. There's my opinions and my thoughts. Let's see. Oh, okay. See, you got to tell me that. I don't be on IG and I'll be moving, man. I'm gonna go check what you said. I got you, fam. I got you. Somebody says Geico has better rates than Progressive. Well, it is and it isn't. I hear you say cargo van, it ain't rocket size, but it is, but it isn't, because it's about numbers. So if you're a person that didn't weren't a math person, it's all about communication. If you have to work on your communication, it's about driving. If you're one of those people whose driving skills haven't been built up and as strong as they are, it's a whole bunch of different stuff. So that's the different strokes for different folks. Because for some people, it's like nothing. For some people, it takes a little bit extra. And that's why, if you're one of those people that need a little extra, it's a lot of people out here to help. Just reach out and say something. This get it out the mud mentality, I don't want y'all to keep that. I know that's what the rappers have said over time, and everybody be like, I did it by myself. You don't have to do this by yourself. There's people out there to help you. Just make sure it ain't the scammer people. I told you, get receipts. Make sure you know what you're talking about. Okay, Paul. I put this, y'all know this. I put this up in the chat because on the screen because everybody ain't gonna see the chat. But here go a list of people that you can start off with, carrier companies, a list of them. Let's see. Jay says, I can't get $1 a mile to find a lot of lows without Fox, but I'm hanging in there. BG will share why I think better days are ahead of me. Have hands full right now, but it's okay. So this is part of the business model. As you bid, and Apex kind of tapped on it when talked about experience. When you jump in this thing, we just navigated certain things. If you don't have that experience to be like, I can get it there to know for a fact, I can pick up there and I can get there. I tell y'all about, every 3 hours for every 200 miles. If those numbers aren't already computing when you're talking to somebody, which this grows over experience, they'll ask like, hey, when can you pick it up? I can pick it up ASAP. Can you get it there today? Yes, I can. It's only 400 miles. It's 6 hours. I'm picking up at 8. I can be there around by give or take with gas stops or anything like that. I can get there by 2:33. They don't stop ship. You learn this over time. And then the same with numbers. Like you can't get over $1 a mile or get to $1 a mile. It's like, I haven't honed in and had the experience of strengthening my communication skills. I haven't honed in and experienced and strengthened my negotiating skills. All these things play a part. So that's what I said about we might be dropping stuff. And that's why I be telling people watch the videos. Go back if you haven't. Tell you to watch the videos because it's not just motivation. It ain't just to talk about numbers. We talk about things that you need to gain that experience. It's like when people say, why do I have to mature so long? Because the shipper's not going to give you lows and you can't even give what the definition of a BOL is. They're not going to give you lows if you don't know what a COI is. These are things in your business model you have to consider. That's why businesses start small and expand. Harley Davidson wasn't in a big warehouse in every major city in the United States. Harley Davidson started in a garage tinkering with the motorcycle until they can expand. Don't think just because you saw a YouTube video, somebody said, I got a cargo van and I'm making $15,000, $12,000 a month. This is what it is. You have to start somewhere. Your start out month might be $1,000. It might be $3,000. It might be $5,000. You saw in the gig app. We started out real low until we got to the point where we say, hey, I figured out how to make $3,000 to $5,000 a month in gig apps. Then people did gig apps. You're not going to come in. It took me time to get to where I can conventionally say I can make the van make 9,000 plus in 3 weeks. It took me time, if that makes sense. So it's that $1 a mile. It's going to be hard to get up. It's learning your area. I might give you insights about the area, but like I said about the West Coast, I don't be out there. So I can only give you the circle. I went a couple times. I didn't like it. I knew where certain things up and down California, but I didn't like certain things. So I didn't keep researching over there because I knew it wasn't for me. I couldn't tell you nothing about Oregon, Washington. I couldn't tell you nothing about Idaho. I can't tell you about New York and Maine. That's not my area of expertise. I only know what I'm learning in my area, and that's what you got to understand about the experience. That's what Apex is going to. So you're going to get there, fam. It's just the part of the business model that nobody wants to know. Because remember I said value, creating value. You can't create value for yourself, your business, or your customer if you don't even know how to get to the value. That's why they call me Mr. Get It There, because I'm going to help you get it there. Watch out, fam. Let me stop. What's up, Terry? You ain't never late, fam. That's why they got rewind buttons. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up. Okay. Now you've been out working silently, building foundation with reach. Okay. Earlier were you talking similar to getting annual raises, keeping expenses the same to maximize you until scaling business? Yes and no. So, of course, if your goal is to scale your business, you have to, that's the operating cost. And as you scale, your operating cost is going to go up. But what a lot of people do is they scale so fast without understanding their operating costs. Let's give it an example. So we've talked about insurance. As you know, if your insurance, let's just stick with round numbers. If your insurance is $1,000, you know that's $12,000 a month. Say your van note I mean, for the year. Say your van note, we're going high end on stuff because I want to use actual numbers to help you hone this in. So if your insurance is $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. If your car van note is $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. That's $24,000. When you're first starting out, you're not going to know how much gas is going to cost, none of that stuff. So for example, for me, I might average between $1,500 to $2,000 in gas per month. But I go high end because I put away money because we're building. So we go high end, 3,000. 3,000 per month in gas, which turns around and equates to what's that? Yeah, 3,000. So it equates to roughly 36,000 a year. Sorry about that, fam. So if I add the 36,000 and then I add in the 24,000 that I just mentioned, this is just obsolete costs. If I add in the 24,000 that I just mentioned for the van insurance and for the actual van note, I'm already at 50,000 for the year. So this is high end numbers, people. Stick with me. This is not how much it costs for me. I'm using high end. So that's 50,000 a year. Now, granted, if you did the steps that I already told you, you should have already been put aside money for maintenance. We've talked about the 8,000. We went high end on that. We've talked about the, was it 5,000 or 6,000 for the engine, like 2,000 or 3,000 for the transmission, the major issues. Like to get the spark plugs and all that change stuff. When that time comes, that we're looking at another 1,000 to 2,000, go high end. But you already put away that capital that we keep talking about, that 10, 15,000 just sitting over there, unless you have some other disposable income coming in to help you in the event that something happens. You need to get that money stashed away as fast as possible, because you can't spend that, because if something comes up, like we've talked about in the chat, the van breaks down, you need to fix it. So just stay off the regular operational cost. That's 5,000, and that's not including if we say $100 for oil note or oil changes, and then like for me, I get my tires changed every 6 months. That's another $750. So if I round everything up, let's just say 55,000 is what you need. This is high end. High end. Stick with me. 55,000 for the year. That means that you would need that, like the people wondering about, because again, it's high end. If we're going high end, we're going to go all the way high end. That means if you run the whole 12 months and you treat it like a regular 9 to 5, you go to work Monday through Friday, take you a vacation once or twice, 2 or 3 week vacation somewhere throughout the year. That means you run a roughly work, if I give you the whole month, 48 weeks a year, you're doing that, and you can run that van up to 125, 130,000. That means your take home after everything, your operating cost is 80,000. That's for yourself. Now it's time to scale business model. You need to know that you're hiring a driver, putting somebody in the van, ready to do that type of work, because now you're bringing on extra expenses. But that's why I say don't scale too fast. First, before you scale, let's get rid of the first thing, the van payment. Let's get rid of that 12,000. Pay the van off if you're not able to come in cash. These are the things that I'm talking about when I say building a business model and you jump out there on people's numbers. Because if you just use my high end numbers that I just told you, people will be like, oh, no, I can't survive in this van, which would be true for some people. But if I use the actual numbers that I actually use to operate the van, I've done it a couple times, is give or take to operate the van based on insurance and all the stuff I just listed. I'm not listing it again. It comes closer to like 30,000. It's like 28, 27, something like that. I know that though, because that's me doing my research and understanding the business model for my family. But for you to do yours, that's why Apex was saying about why do you jump into authority and MC first out the gate. You need to first understand how the game works, how this transportation running around, whether it's carrier, broker, even if just doing gig apps. You'll start to learn, like doing these gig apps a month, I got to get an oil change. Or every 2 months, I got to get an oil change. Or my tires are going this fast, I got to replace brakes. You start to learn that. But a lot of people just jump out in there and get stuff done before they do the entire research or fulfill or reached out to somebody that actually has receipts and know what they're doing. Because again, I don't want you to get scammed before doing that. And then they wonder why they're sinking and drowning, because your business model was built around somebody else. Let's see. Y'all I'm trying to catch up. I already went through that one. That's what we're talking about, the easy part. That's why 90% fail. Like I think in my personal opinion, from hearing conversations from different drivers when I'm out on the road and watching people talk. Because believe it or not, YouTube isn't just all about people talking about how great it is. There are some people out there that talk about how bad it is. And if you listen to them long enough and watch enough videos, you're able to have discernment, which we've talked about that one, to understand why they're having those issues and why it's called a fail, because they most likely built their business model off of somebody else's numbers. We good. Okay. Navi's good. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for Navi for letting me know, man. Praying for y'all out there. So this is again part of that business model thing, because that weekly income can change. It depends on your market, depends on where you're at. I've seen people make $1,500 a week. I've seen people make $2,000 a week. I know I'll use my numbers. I know if I stay local between the triangle, I can make it go between 1,800 to 2,300, depending on the week. But then I can have a week that's in that triangle that can be 1,400, depending on weather condition, load conditions, what's going on, time of year. It fluctuates. It's entrepreneurship. That's the business model. That's why you put money away, because entrepreneurship, especially in this type of game, it's an up and down thing. You've seen it. We've had a week we did 5,000 plus. Had a week we did 1,200. But it's understanding that. So it's not really, so as a beginner, you can't really go off of that, because different people have different carriers, different people have different contractors. Some people mix gig apps inside of it. That's the part of the research of understanding your business model. And keep hanging out with us over here, because the fam gonna keep telling you their numbers, their experience. And as you tie it together and you start learning your market based off of your research, you'll start to see, like the Quick said, they did a load that was 225 for 17 miles, and they were like, hey, we wish that could be an everyday thing. I know people that set their goal at $200 a day, so they want to find a load that's going somewhere to make them $200 a day. It all depends, but it doesn't work until you actually get your research going. Let's see. What's up? Is $99 for local routes. Anything under 50 miles a good rate for a cargo van. $2 a mile for anything over 50. Over 50. Also still debating should I and when to charge for pickup miles. If I'm understanding you correctly, you're asking if you have a local route and it's going 50 miles, is $99 a good? I think that is. If you're talking about it's going to be like something that's continuation, like a direct thing, that they're going to pay you $2 a mile to go 50 miles, and it's like a dedicated thing, I don't see nothing wrong with that, especially like if that's a contracted thing, because that, remember, that spot market and all that. I've heard of it being higher. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've heard it getting to the $150 to $200 to run 50 miles. That's just in my area. I don't know your area. The next part of that, $2 a mile for anything over 50. So you have to look at that with understanding. So, for example, say I can get a contract that's going 300 miles, and I can get them for $2 a mile. That's 600 miles. I mean, $600. Is that doable? Yes. Not saying it's not. But to try to find that contract, say it's going 1,500 miles. I doubt in this market, in this where we're at, and just ever really, for a cargo van, not talking about a box truck or 18 with a cargo van. For a cargo van, I don't see them giving you $3,000 to go 1,500 miles. Unless it's some expedited stuff that they do and need it. It's all kinds of errors. But if it's just something that they go out every Tuesday again, it's going 1,500 miles, I don't see them paying you $3,000 for one load going 1,500 miles for it weekly, if that makes sense. It's not saying it's not possible. I just haven't come across that. Let's see. So I want to clear. I noticed USA now offers commercial insurance. Their USA is that I've reached out to them. They're a third party, so they say they offer the insurance, but they're actually just a third party. They're basically like an insurance broker, but they're not it. It's a bank. Okay, let's see. Though, what'd you say? I've been doing this for 13 years, and I can tell you that the biggest reason people fail is they do not understand the numbers in their role. Boy, I almost screamed because my wife, she just sits there and laughs at me because I watch videos like y'all, and it ain't even just about cargo van. It's anything in life. It could be relationships, be cargo vans, anything. And I'm like, people don't understand numbers. Like I just broke down the numbers for you for the 10 major cities, say 20 million out of 300 million, and they be like, why can't it look like this? Why am I not this? Because the rest of America is, you're looking at the less than 1%. We're talking about business model, but in life, You have to understand numbers. Like I tell people all the time, get out your city, get out your state, get out the country. If you knew how the rest of the world worked, you would be surprised. Like numbers look different. And if you don't understand, that's why, and it makes sense, as I said it earlier, while my mama used to beat it in my head about knowing numbers and knowing words. In order to get the numbers you want, you better know how to use the words that you have obtained over the years, or like the young man told me in the comments, ignorance is bliss. But you have to know the numbers. That's why a lot of people, that's why we're talking about business model. That's why I keep harping on certain things, because a lot of people aren't using numbers and they're making their numbers off of the anomalies. We have to stop doing that. I know we live in an air fryer society, but stop working off of numbers. Let's see. I'm trying to catch back up because they all talking. The reason I ain't put it up because y'all talking about some of this. And y'all can answer this one. I don't. My grandfather-in-law has a curious service in Elkhart, Indiana. He has 6 vans, and I'm starting to take over the business. He is charging $44 an hour. I think that's too low. Thoughts? What exactly are you doing in that van? Give me insight. Give me more insight. I'm not understanding. USA, you have to have military affiliation. Yes, that's correct. Be surprised though, fam. We got a lot of vets in the fam. We got a whole bunch. Talk to a few of them. An insurance broker is the best way to go for insurance. They mix and match. Yeah, if you don't want to do all the work yourself or doing all that, there are a few insurance brokers. Make sure they're not scammers. Make sure they're good. Talk to that's the communication and network. Talk to people that's already in the game. They can help you lead to it. Quick say was offered 3 routes last week for $660 a day, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5:10, box trucks only. Unfortunately, it was not in our business model, but it made us think. This is what I'm talking about. Remember we talked about logical. That's a logical one when you talk about routes like that. Of course, it's for box trucks, but you're looking at a 11-hour day, possibly 12, give or take, and it's going to make you $660 a day. To some people, it'd be like, that's a lot of work. We're back to the numbers. We're back to the numbers again. $660 a day. If we just, even though that's 11, we say 11 hours, that's 50 some dollars an hour. I know you just said about the $44 an hour, but that depends on, I don't know all the different variables that your grandfather's business have when you were just telling me about it. But that's 50 some, if that's part of your business model and you're the business, that's 50 some dollars an hour for you to do that. Of course, it's a box truck, but don't forget the numbers for what it costs. Remember, I told you 30,000, 50,000 for the year. Look long term. Don't look just right now, which is what I've been iterating when people are like, BG, you took a 200-mile load for $300. Don't look at the one load. Look at the overall thing. Look at the big picture. That's part of a business model. It's full circle. Progressive is high because you're in Connecticut. Yep. Fan dog heading from DC to New York. Be safe out there, fam. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna be waiting on your comments. Appreciate that, JR. It's good to get it out the mud, but when you meet good people. Now, granted, I appreciate that. I love flowers. But I gotta admit, I love y'all too, fam, because y'all in here be knocking out information, and that's why I like y'all chatting this thing. Like everything I've been saying this. People think I'm. Remember, I told you, the dude told me that I was blissful thinking. But Apex, he just told you, been in the game 13 years. The hurtful truth is that you will not always get $1 a mile on all those. If you run under a carrier, you'll not get $1 a mile on those. Most of the time, that are over 200 miles. Now you get what I'm saying? Like that, you got to understand. If you're under your own authority, you can average over $1 a mile on overall, but there will be many times under you'll be under per load. And y'all seen that we've done lows, we've done 199 cents, we've done 192 cents. It varies. Uh, I'm trying to catch up. Okay. I only have 6 months, so I'll defer to you. However, the job itself is simple. Book the load, secure the load, send BOL to broker carrier, deliver it. Definitely nuances. Yep, you got that part right. Um, but how you just said that you did 6 months, you've seen this, Rich. You've seen this. We have people that still be like, "Hey, what's the BOL or what rate do you charge for this?" Like people, I promise you, once you get now again, that's the experience that we've been talking about in the business model. As you gain the experience, then and it doesn't take long to gain experience. It's not that part I will say. When I say not rocket science, it's not like you going in the lab to be a scientist and you need chemistry and all that. I'm not saying all that. Nobody's saying you're a doctor and you need to know measurements down to milliliters for patients. Yeah, I get that part. What's this? I'm glad BG always tells us to build our model. Everybody said Cali was dead and rates were low and gas is high. I'm getting $1.30 regionally all day in cargo vans and up to $3. So I'm glad you said that because I've mentioned this before and people thought I was crazy. For my when I remember I told y'all for my CPM when I'm out in Cali, I have to make it go for $1.25. Greg is in Cali. Only difference for me is I don't live in Cali. So when I'm out there, I would get stuck. And y'all be like, BG, why you never at home? I want the whole point of this. Remember, my model for me and my family is our customer is the family. So I have to be at home to continue to build with the family. That's why y'all don't see your boy out of West. But yes, thank you, George, for being a great fam and basically saying what I already said. I like that. And George is doing all this under a new MC. Uh While you're running your loads, how are you choosing when to upsell upon pickup or delivery? This is experience again. Remember, I told you, as you start doing negotiating and communication is keys that you're going to pick up. You're going to find them ones that you're going to communicate and negotiate, and you'll know when, like, yeah, this broker doing this is what they got. This is what they don't have. You'll know the region and then be like, this region, I'm not going to get this. But if I do this particular task, I'm able to price myself. Like if I got to do too much touching with the freight, depending on what it is. If I got to label freight, if I got to hold overnight, that's when I can start charging my rates. So, but when you're doing it, as you're running around, you'll start to notice who you can and can't talk to. Let's see. Feels like I do better job than the broker, probably with the broker is if they don't communicate good. You'll have a hard time getting things done because insurance companies only want to deal with them. Yes and no. It depends because you're correct with the broker part if they don't communicate good. But the reason I said the broker thing is because they, for one, they most like it's like different dealing with carriers. There might be insurance, but they already have relationships with certain people. You'll be surprised what relationships get you, but they have relationships and they want you as their client and they already negotiated like, hey, I got this. I got cargo van people calling me. If I send them to you, can I get them at this rate and these type? They have those relationships. But there are people that don't know how to communicate. We see that all the time. What's going on? Magris is in the building. Thank you for showing love to the people of Texas with everything that's going on. To me, there's no difference than a 1 month authority booking a load versus a 1 month driver booking under a seasoned authority. It's all the same. Yes. So you are correct. You have to look at it because remember I just told you the stakeholders. You have to look at it from the shipper, the broker, and all that. Like they don't know that about you. We might know you good. We know you amazing out there, but they don't know that because part of that spectrum, the mental spectrum. We might know you're great and good, but just because you're great and good, there's also other end where there's some people that just aren't good at this and they're in this game. So they have to do that so that way they can make sure that their stuff and because they're still providing that. They have a business model too. They have to provide value to their customers, their client, and they have a reputation and a name to uphold. Like think about all the jokes people cry. TKL sucks. Think all the brokers. They'd be like, oh, they're great. Or this one sucks. That's a value in the name you have to uphold too. So that's why they do it that way. I like how you put that. To me, this is very simple, but I have learned through experience that I'm the exception, not the rule. This isn't me bragging, just truth. I love this industry. I agree. Because again, it might be simple to us, but remember what I just told you. I named the top 10 cities, 20 million people across these 10 cities. They're exposed to stuff and see stuff that the other 360 million people, you've been around America, you drove, you seen them little towns. They probably don't even have good phone reception, let alone talking about streaming on YouTube and watching. They be outside playing and working and all that stuff. They have they're oblivious to other stuff going on. They don't understand a lot of stuff that we do in the big city versus how we don't. Just think about the country, people out in the country. You don't understand their business model or how they do stuff. If I took somebody right now and told them to go out there and be a farmer, that farmer might look at you and be like, what are you doing? It's so hard. It's not hard. Plant the crop, water the crop, grow the crop, and then take the crop down and sell it. That seems like logical, but we don't know the ins and outs of being a farmer. I know a little bit because I grew up on the farm, but I don't know enough. There's not my business model. And it's people that jump in this game that don't know what they're doing. That's why I say it's more stuff coming that we're doing behind the scenes that'll blow your mind later. Yes, the USA through Progressive. I can't remember who they are, but they have a affiliate that they work with. That's what I just Pexy saying what I just was mentioning. Really pop up there about the age authority. That's how the brokers know that you know what you're doing. They know who they getting into. See, I'm trying to catch up. Y'all in here talking fast. Numbers. I'm not putting comments up that we've already talked about. Why is this thing not working? I just popped up. 600 day local, and you go home. Your cost of living that support this, because you'll be shocked how many people out there, they be like $660 a day. That's not enough. I don't know why, but people believe that because their costs don't match the rate. Look at this. I just said that. My box truck wouldn't move for 600 a day contract. That route would be at least $200 of gas and $50 a day or so average for insurance. This comment was originally made on his end with the box truck. George is in Cali. The quick. Do y'all see what I'm saying now? Business model regions. For one, box truck, cargo van. You see what I'm saying? George is totally correct. The quicks are totally correct. Both of them are correct, but it has to fit in your business model. And I don't like that's amazing. See, Paul, you just said that was 660 was great. If you built your business model and kind of mirror what the quicks were saying, you'd be good. But for somebody that's over there that's watching George and they say, I'm gonna build that because I saw the quicks do, or vice versa, if Paul built it because he saw George do, then your business fails. You're like, what? Are in different areas, different places. It's no different when I was telling y'all about DoorDash back in the day. I used to be blown because they'd be like, oh my God. Of course, their numbers is high. $300 in Cali a day in DoorDash is numbers again. It's roughly like 150 in Texas. Don't worry. Jay is just asking if any events and if any of y'all got in contracts with the government at any level or the VA with your cargo van and box trucks. I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten discounts because of the veteran status. I've done that. So that plays a part too. Let's see. Well, y'all is in here talking. I can't even catch up. Let's see. Y'all is in here going at it. Did I freeze? Oh no. I don't know if I'm frozen, but I'm gonna keep talking because I see everything else still moving, but I don't know if I'm moving. uh, huh? I see people BGM in Cali 9 times out of 10. I would get $1 per mile. Now, make sure that dollar per mile matches your CPM for what you need, because I know that gas out in Cali is a little bit higher. All right, so I'm froze. So you know me, fam. Uh, can you still hear me? I'm froze. I don't know what happened. All right, I'm froze, but you can still hear me. All right, so I don't know why I'm froze, but y'all can hear me. So this is what we're gonna do. Uh, I don't know if stuff is popping up on the screen or not, but y'all can hear me. But you know me, I'm the sign, the guy with signs. This is God telling me, hey, y'all, we got some work to do tomorrow. So you can hear me. You might not see me moving around. My bad, fam. Don't know what's going on. I'm going to figure out the thing about the subtitles on the thing. We'll get to that. We're going to end it, and I'm going to finish wrapping it up. I saw it, and then we're going to do this because apparently last live, I missed it because the quick said something. So I saw it after fact, but y'all apparently want this to be in the thing. So I want y'all to be safe. And as we said already before about the people in Texas, about the prayer, we're going to go ahead because apparently this is what the fan wants. So let's end it with the prayer. Everybody bow your head and close your eyes. You can't see me, but my eyes closed. Lord God, we once again come to say thank you. We want to start this prayer off by asking that you bless those families all around the world that are affected by the events that just happened recently in Texas. We help the family members that are there that are still trying to overcome the things that have happened, whether it be lost loved ones, lost homes, lost everything. Just give them the strength and protection and the guidance to keep them moving forward. We ask that you watch over us all as we get ready to start this week, to get back on this week so we can have a blessed week and have an amazing week. And we know this can only be done by you, through you, and only you. We ask that you just keep us safe so we go out on these dangerous highways and byways so we return to our families, and please keep our families safe while we're out here doing your work. We just ask these and many more blessings and ask this in your darling son Jesus' name. Amen. Now, fam, I want y'all to go out there and get that money. Get your bags. Be safe on that road. I'm sorry that the live froze. Don't know what happened. You can still hear me. So your boy just going to leave you with this. Until the next video, y'all stay blessed.